Hello everyone, my name is Ariel Zhao. In this video, I am going to give a final presentation on macroeconomics course. I am a junior student majored in institution and governance with economic tracks at Duke Kunshan University. I want to say my special thanks to Professor Ariel Zhao, who helped me on the final presentation and slides. So, during the 7 weeks, we made such a lucid chart. In week 1, we are introduced to macroeconomics. What are macro models? What are macro data? And so on. In week 2, we address the economic growth without market clearing. We make the self-serving economic model. The conclusion is that no matter what economic level a country starts from, they will catch up in the end. And in week 3, we explore why there is economic fluctuation by using an equilibrium model of business circle, with assumption of fixed price level. In week 4, we discover the rational expectation theory and assume money is always neutral. In week 5, we find the limitation of the theory we've discovered in the last week, that money is not always neutral in the short run, and we make a comparison between the new classical model and new Keynes model. In the week 6, we apply our theory practice and have a cloud field trip to liquidity and get more knowledge about stable coin. Finally, in the last week, we learn more about different monetary policy, and especially for the decentralized monetary policy. I will focus on the last week material and also introduce my own research idea. So this is part 5, Future Perspective, Decentralized Monetary Policy. The first monetary policy I want to focus on is conventional monetary policy. The motivation of this policy is that when market cannot work well, government can use short-run interest rate as an instrument to intervene and achieve its macroeconomic goals, such as investment, inflation, and unemployment. There are 2 circumstances for the government. The first is overheated economy with extremely high inflation. The central bank can raise the target interest rate to make money more expensive and decrease the money supply and reduce the aggregate demand for cash. Government bonds are sold in the open market in this case. The second is economic recession with low inflation. The central bank can use lowered interest rate to make money cheaper, and this also increases the money supply and stimulates the monetary demand. Government bonds here are purchased. So how does this satisfy people's unsatisfied need? By using a short-term interest rate, conventional monetary policy can control the availability of money and its supply, as well as the interest rate on loans and the amount of bank reserves. Therefore, the value of people's assets is changed, and this can influence the demand for loans and saving deposits. This further affects people's decision on investment and composition to maximize their financial needs. However, it also has limitations. When encountering deep recession or global crisis like 2008 to 2009 financial crisis, interest rate will achieve 0% and thus become ineffective. Economic recession would occur and the whole economy is at higher risk moving into a liquidity trap, where people have no incentive to investment and loss, with unemployment rate grows rapidly. So we come to the unconventional monetary policy for the problems within the conventional monetary policy. The problem to be solved is that during the 2008 to 2009 global financial crisis, the interest rate is around 0%, which is ineffective. The conventional monetary tools cannot work well, and the banks are at the risk of default with its reserve requirements are really low. So the central bank are worried about the liquidity trap. And also, how does it satisfy the need? Under the unconventional monetary policy, central banks mainly use open market operations to order money supply. When facing financial crisis, central banks use quantitative easing as a method to purchase long-term bonds in open market, so that increasing money supply and also increasing lending and investment. This would further spur economic activities. Additionally, if quantitative easing fails, central banks can use a negative interest rate policy by charging banks of their excess reserves, which may carry over to deposits and bonds. However, there are three problems involved in unconventional monetary policy. The first is the high inflation rate, that money is losing purchasing power at a fast speed. Second is, money will eventually flow to the financial market with higher returns. In this case, only rich people can invest in the stock market and benefit from the growth, while most unemployed people are low-wage working class. This further increases wealth inequality and social gaps. Also, lastly, since central bank gets more pressure from the government by printing more money for national bonds, central bank would thus lose its independence. Therefore, we come to the last monetary policy called decentralized monetary policy. The problem to be solved is that since the unconventional monetary policy needs central bank to order money supply for specific needs, money will then lose purchasing power with more money printed by central banks. But decentralized monetary policy on the blockchain is predefined with no discretionary decision making. For example, Bitcoin is predefined and written in the code of rigid monetary policy, and no one can change that. Therefore, it can be considered as digital gold because of fixed supply. Additionally, compared with centralized finance, the decentralized system is more resilient even if one computer is hacked. How does this satisfy the need? There are 5 features. The first is there is no middleman or third party. Money will be transferred automatically by the smart contract, and users do not need central authority or third party to do that. People will find the business logic as simplified and with everyone can get access to at a very low cost. Another is there's no custodian. You can control your own asset. Users' money is saved in a smart contract that is not owned by anyone. If the business logic is executed, you get your money automatically without worrying about the sudden bankrupt of the bank. Money then flows to the borrowers with their collateral inside. If they do not pay back their loan, depositors can take their collaterals and money is thus secured. And there are also 3 other features like 24/7 accessible, open source, and transparent with no one can manipulate the transaction. So people can find the decentralized system more time flexible and resourceful. However, there are also problems involved. The first is security problems. If the code for the decentralized bank are not well written, users can bear risks when using cryptocurrency. However, this can be solved over time. Another is they find it to be much more user-friendly to get more trust on their users. The last one is it takes a long time to confirm and match the transaction so that there is a low transaction speed. So due to all the problems of the above 3 monetary policies, I give my future perspective. My research idea goes like this. It is a hybrid monetary policy. The basic 4 features are multi-central, auditing involved, subsidy provided, and community divided. Since a centralized finance bears the risks of personal privacy and asset security, individuals cannot control their own asset. But for the hybrid monetary policy, it combines the advantages of centralized and decentralized finance. So in this case, people's personal transaction information is stored in a distributed community, and everyone can review it. So that's forming a multi-centralized data storage model. Another thing is that hybrid policy can skip the centralized platform for transactions between individuals. It can achieve higher transaction efficiency. Each community can become a center with high degree of autonomy, but this does not have a mandatory central control. Users have to obey the rules of transaction service and pay the fees. How does this solve the problems? First is hybrid monetary system solves the security problem by adding the auditing process before the codes and contracts formally come into the force. Second, it can solve the trust problem of user-friendly by dividing the users into small groups and provide the subsidies for users with urgent financial reasons. They are divided based on the similar features, habits on financial management, and make the system more resilient and serve better for people's different investment and lending needs. We can call this more user-oriented or user customization. Lastly, it can also solve the problem of low transaction speed by creating a cross-blockchain network of multi-central exchange to support high-frequency transaction. And each region can have its own transactions. So how does this satisfy the need? With different communities divided, transactions can be more efficient and more transactions can happen. It is also easier for authorities to utilize currencies and solve the liquidity trap when encountering sudden economic shocks like coronavirus to address people's alternative needs. Subsidies incentives for users can also make the users more willing to enter this hybrid system. However, we have to admit that there are limitations of this research idea. For multi-central, it needs higher security requirements to prevent hacking. And secondly, although it can achieve economic efficiency with high transaction frequency, the hybrid system can damage the social inequality for people with low financial literacy. Another thing is that since there are multi-centers, the auditing process for codes and contracts is a huge work either for artificial intelligence or higher authority involved with people. Therefore, it's hard to achieve the idea, and this may have trouble making policies to regulate them. So this is the end of my presentation. These are the reference. And also in this course, I have learned a lot of skills and have a more clearer of my future clear paths and research. Thank you.